Hello, good evening, everyone. So today is Saturday, the 9th of January, 2020. And this is Achan Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So as usual, I'm here with you all tonight. So today still the center is covered with the snow and still nice and beautiful. Hello, Manish. I hope you're keeping well. Here, Santa, everybody is fine. Just a little bit of a cold here, out here. So we are basically in a wonderland. Basically, we are in a wonderland. So today again, according to the BBC News, we see that this is the fourth day that people died due to the coronavirus, over 1,000 people. Particularly today, over 1,035 people died, and which totaling over 80,000 people have lost their lives due to the COVID-19. And meanwhile, the news also suggests that the daily test for the positive test, or just the tests, increased up to almost 60,000 people. So it's quite a scary moment and scary time for so many people. Nevertheless, that there is a vaccine available now and different vaccines around. And the UK also have started sharing or giving this vaccine. And today, the BBC News also says that the Queen, who is 94 years old, and Duke of Edinburgh, who is 99 years old, have taken their vaccine. So they are vaccinated, which is a good, good sign and also a good encouragement for so many people who have doubts and even having a confusion that whether should have it or not, due to there are so many misguiding information available about the COVID vaccine. So the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh's move towards having this vaccine is basically helping people to overcome their fear and encourage them to have it. Like today, this afternoon, when I was walking with one family whom I respect, she asked me saying that should she take the vaccine or not, and my honest answer was, as soon as she got the letter, she should go and get it. At least she can prevent herself and then also preventing others. So that's why a vaccine, it's a very crucial tool at the moment, and whenever is available, when once it's come to your door, then you should go and get it for your own safety. But having said that, doesn't mean that you are not going to die. This is a law that end of the day we have to live. And this is again, we forget about this fact of death, and simply because we think that we are very important we are a very important person in the world, in the society, in the house, or in wherever we go. Basically, we always have this laurel of a different status and different personalities at all the time. Suppose you go to work in an office, maybe you are a boss or you are simply a co-worker, then you are holding that laurel of a boss or a worker. Whichever status you are in, you will be holding that. And once you leave your office, and you will be a customer in a shop, and then when you're coming home, you will be a father or mother or son or a daughter. So you're holding so many different types of the status and laurels, thinking that you are very important. And whenever we have that concept of I am an important person, then that creates troubles, not only to oneself, but also to others. I remember about almost 20 years ago, when my teacher, monk, who passed away. And I thought that after he had gone, who's going to look after the temple? And I was so worried that, oh, the temple is going to ruin, and without me, temple will be deserted, something like that. And I was holding that view for so long. But later I realized, if I am not there, the center or the temple still continues. And even now it still continues over 15 years, probably even the better than if I am in that temple, like that. And similarly, when I was in Birmingham at that time, I was simply a temple boy, working alongside with other monks. And every time when we had events and the ceremonies, we always, I always have something, oh, it could have done this way, that could have done that way, and why the abbot is not taking concerns, why he is not mindful, like that. And used to complain about that I know better, I am important, I am everywhere, projecting I am. And then later, as I become like the main person, a chairperson of this center, then I realized that there are so many things that I can, and there are so many things that I can't. Things that people may think right, but it may not right in a different perspectives. And I realize that way, and which is quite interesting to know. And similarly, there are so many people volunteering, helping the center. Yeah, and again, they have their own views, they have their own ideas, and they think that they are bringing their perception of their experiences from the past, and thinking that they will try to make themselves as very important, and try to influence by in implementing what he or she knows about it. So projecting that I am an important person, like that. And it reminds me of the story that I read probably a few years ago. One of the monks wrote, I think Ajahn Vichian from Thailand, he wrote about it. And I have heard a couple of times by other people talking about the story, the rooster and the sunrise. So the story goes like this, that the rooster, always wakes up early morning and he make a noise like a kokolang, like that. And then he has this perception that without his signal, the sun will not rise. So every day he wakes up early morning and goes up to the tree, a branch, and then make a noise, waking, waking the sun up. So then gradually sun will arise in the horizon and the whole world get the sunlight. Now as days passed and this rooster got the perception that without him giving a signal, the sun will not rise. And he became very attached to it. Oh, I apologize. Sorry. And he became very attached to it. And over the period of a time, this rooster got older and unable to wake up in the morning, like that. And then this rooster's other siblings or sons and daughters volunteer that they will do on behalf of him. And he normally would nag them saying that, who do you think you are? Without me giving a signal, the sun will not rise and the whole world will be in a darkness. You can't do my job. So every morning he wakes up and goes and give a signal to the sun and rises. And as this rooster got older, and it happened that one day he couldn't wake up early morning and give a signal. And however, the sun rises on its own time, and this rooster realized it was a midday and the sun was in a full blossom, giving a light to the whole world. And this rooster thought, oh, without me the sun can rise too. And that was the last day of this rooster. Now it is what's happening around the world. I would say that everything thinks that they are a rooster. Without them, then the community or the country will be ruined, will not be go back to the normal or dignities and like that. And which is, again, we can see the simile or this example which is happening in America, that the group of people are supporting for the America to be the great nation again, thinking that the Donald Trump will be the one. And even Donald Trump also thinks that he is like a rooster who has to be there in the power to raise the power of America. So that's the reason. But everything goes, everything changes. And this is simply because of this this distorted view holding onto that I am important than anybody else. I know better than anyone else. And I should be there to performing it. I should be there to doing it. And which again, in the past, I also, my own experience that before I became a monk, as a son of a farmer, I was engaging in farming and helping my parents. And my father normally would go to work, and regardless of weather, regardless of seasons, and leaving us, all of us, to work in the fields. And it happened that almost most of the time, I would be the person to looking after and taking care and helping the farming. And then there was a thought that what if I left to be a monk? Who will be helping out this farming? And there will be a disaster. But however, later my faith to be a monk becomes so great, and then I just simply disregard and gave up and become a monk. And it continued, and it didn't stop. It didn't stop. And similarly, this happened to, I think, every one of us have these sort of thoughts that, what if I am not there? What will happen? And that sort of a thought, we all have it. And that's simply because of the distorted view. And wherever we go, we like to project ourselves by status, by the knowledge, by the qualification, by someone you know in a high position, and like that. I have seen there was once a lady was visiting from Thailand, and it happened that she used to help one of the very famous monk who was very actively engaging in social works. When she came to visit the center, rather than introducing herself, she was introducing that I help this monk in that way and that way. I help this monk to establish this center, that center. I, always I. And simply the way she was talking was to get some favor from the temple, that how important that person is, like that. And this is again quite interesting topic to talk, interesting topic to think about, that the very moment when you think you are important person, then that moment you're simply having this distorted view that I am better than anybody else. I am good, I am stronger, I know better. So there is always I. Then what happens? You will be suffering. You want others to accept you. You want others to believe you. You want others to do something for you, like that. And if they do not believe in you, then you suffer. And you do different activities to letting them believing in you. If they do not do it for you, then again, you will use different ways, persuading, influencing, letting them do it for you, regardless of what is the truth or not. All what they or she or he wanted is, let others do it for me. And so that's a craving, this a strong desire to be. And that creates the harassments, creates differences, creates troubles, and unrest, and far from peace and harmony, and that's for sure. And this is what the Buddha was talking about, that very moment when we put ourselves in a state of very important person, at that time, then we are diluted. We have a distorted view, and we have this craving to be the best, to be the better, and get best out of everything. And that is what the trouble is about. Now, it reminds me again of my father's teachings. When my father died, I was compiling my father's biography. And I tried to collect all his teachings, main teachings, and how he lived whole his life. And in there, among those teachings that my father had been teaching all of us and even applied in his life, and one of them is called, in Nepalese word, I would say, it's Sano Bhaira Basnu. So always put yourself in a position that you are small. And my father always told us that when you project yourself as a small person, one who knows little, and not having any sort of ego and humble, then you will be able to fit in every community, every society, every circumstances. And I found it very, very, good teachings that my father taught us, and which allowed me to fit in every culture, every communities. Like here in Aberdeen, I was born in Nepal, but only one or two person are helping since the establishment of the center. All help are coming mainly from Thai communities and Sri Lankans, and then again our Western friends, those who are here. And this is simpler because I have learned to be humble and learn to live a simple life, and then I try not to overacting, kind of. So that I found very important. And meanwhile, another teachings that I remember from my father was called, in Nepalese, called Aruko Chitta na Dukhano, which means never hurt others' mind, and always understand their suffering, and try not to hurt others in any ways, whether you're speaking, whether you are performing something, in any forms. Try not to hurt others, and that I found really good qualities that my father told us. And it also reminds me the story of Venerable Sariputta, who was the foremost in knowledge and equal to the Buddha, and he was so knowledgeable, and and despite of being in a level of the Buddha's qualities, like the knowledge, and being the commander next to the Buddha, in the commander of the Dhamma, next to the Buddha, he was very humble and always paying gratitude to any single person whoever had done even slightest or small good things towards him. And there was an incident happened that when he was traveling to other places, somehow unknowingly his robes touched one monk who disliked Sariputta. And it happened that this monk exaggerated the story that Sariputta hit by his robe to him and didn't ask forgiveness or even didn't say sorry. And now I think this is what we normally see. Whenever we dislike someone, every action of that person becomes a cause for dissatisfaction and a quarrel and troubles. And this has happened to him as well. And then he went and complained to the Buddha, and then requested the Venerable Sariputta to come and clarify. Despite knowing that Sariputta was a noble one, he would not do such things at all. But for the sake of harmony in the community, the Buddha, invited the Sariputta to clarify. And Sariputta simply said that earth, water, fire, and wind experiences both clean and unclean things, but never shaken or disgusted by them. So they're always there. And meanwhile, Sariputta projected himself as like a bull with no horns, will not harm any beings. So he is like that. Then how on earth he would be harming others? He would be making a trouble to others. And then similarly, Sariputta project or illustrate himself as like a piece of a cloth for the cleaning. And when you are cleaning, again, you are cleaning with both clean things and unclean things, and which I normally see, now after cleaning the dishes, I normally clean the kitchens, helping cleaning the kitchens and the tables, and then even drying these plates. And then Now, the piece of this cloth, sometimes you are wiping the clean places, and I mean, while other time you are wiping the rest of all the rubbishes too. But this piece of cloth never discriminate between one another, other people, other things. So like that. So he basically didn't harbor any sort of resentment or dislike of anyone. So after having said that, this monk felt sorry and understood that Sariputta was a really humble person. And this is what I wanted to convey the masses here, that nowadays we are facing that everyone is projecting themselves as a very important person in certain things, but only humble one who project himself or herself despite of a knowledge or a power or the success, still can bow down and humble himself. Then that person is the real great person. It's like a bamboo. The more the taller it becomes, its head will just come down to the earth. And that sort of a person we are looking for. And with this, all success will be here to us, and all the community become harmonious, and everyone will be helping one another. So I end here for tonight's reflection. Thank you everyone for listening. And just to remind you that tomorrow we are celebrating, not celebrating, we are having this online event called Pinkama Remembrance Day, which basically performing a ceremony or a ritual to do a meritorious deeds, and after doing these merits, transferring them, and in case they are in a state of receiving it, then they will be free from it, and wishing their good and happy life in any realms. So if you would like to be take part on it, you can send a name or picture so that I can print it out and put it on a table while we are doing the ceremony, and then transferring a merit for their good and happiness in the future life to come. So those who have sent it, thank you. And those who haven't, if you would like us to do it, just send it to me. Thank you. So thank you very much. And in a few moments time, we're going to have evening chanting and a guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and see you shortly. Sadhu.